Good afternoon, we are Group H and today we will present about internal combustion engines. The members that make up of the group are myself, Andy Boche, Pablo Grijalba, Carlos Vicente, Cristian Suar, Darwin Diaz, and Luis Mendoza. Hello, my name is Andy Boche and I will give a short introduction to the project. In recent years, the use of internal combustion engines has facilitated the transport of people and package using different routes such as vehicles, boats, ships, planes, trains, and others. Since the invention of the first internal combustion engine in 1816 by the Belgian engineer Edniel Lenoir, which only consumed lighting gas and took advantage of 3% of the energy produced by combustion. To represent they were various engineering risks have been suffered from oil and environment has led to continue with new experiments to grow hybrid or electric solution. Currently, the most used engines are Otto and diesel since they provide excellent propulsion force, are excellent for heavy work, and have great fuel efficiency. However, internal combustion engines have generated large amounts of pollution with CO2 emission and the greenhouse effect due to the increased circulation of automobiles worldwide. So, below I will present the objective. As a general objective, we have study the concept related to the use internal combustion engines. As a specific object, we have define what an internal combustion engine is and the types that exist. Determine the elements that make up an internal combustion engine and this operation. Describe the process to follow to carry out the correct assembly of an internal combustion engine.
Hello, my name is Cristian Suar, and today I'm going to talk about um, what is internal combustion engine. Internal combustion engines are the most common form of aid engines as they are used in vehicles, boats, ships, airports, trains. They are named as such because the fuel is engines in order to work, and since the engine, the same fuel and air mixture, is emitting air exhausts. The internal combustion engine is an engine in which the burning of a fuel occurs in a confined space called a combustion chamber. This exothermic reduction of a fuel with an oxidizer creates gases of hidden temperature and pressure which are permitted to expand. The final feature of an internal combustion engine is that user work is performed by the expanding hot gases acting directly to cause movement, for example by acting or piston rotors, or even by pressing on the movement the entire engine itself. This is internal combustion engine, the parts and function. Okay. Um, While there are many kinds of internal combustion engine, the four-stroke piston engine is one of the most common. Its uses in various automobiles that specifically uses gasoline and fuel, like cars, trucks, and some motorbikes. A four-stroke engine delivers one power stroke for every two cycles of the piston. As the name implies, the system only requires two piston movements in order to generate power. The main differentiating factor that allows the two-stroke engine to function while only two-piston movement is the exhaust and state of the gas occurs simulates over a two-stroke engine contains two processes. Number one, the airflow mixer is ending and the piston movements upwards (compression). Number two, the heated gas exerts high pressure on the piston. The piston movement downwards expansion. Thanks for attention.
Elements and operation of the internal combustion engine. The elements that make up an internal combustion engine are the following. Combustion chamber. It's a cylinder that is fixed and closed on one of its sides. Inside this mechanism, the piston slides, adjusting its moment perfectly to the space. Cylinder head. It is the upper part of the engine in which the cylinders are closed at the top, and the intake and exhaust valves, the spark plugs, the camshaft, the air and fuel intake ducts, and the exhaust ducts are housed. Between the engine block and the cylinder head, a gasket is placed, which is called a cylinder head gasket, that guarantees a hermetic seal between both parts. Connecting rod. It is designed in a specific way to connect the piston and the crankshaft. That work of the connecting rods is to transmit movement through other parts of the engine. The connecting rods transmit the pressure generated by the gas and the piston towards the crankshaft. Block. The engine block, also known as the cylinder block, is made of iron or aluminum in one piece. It is the element that houses the cylinders of an internal combustion engine in addition to the crankshaft support brackets. Crankcase. It is a metal container in which the operation mechanisms of the engine are housed. It serves as a bottom seal for the block and also functions as a reservoir for engine oil. In addition, it acts as refrigeration since the oil that arrives has transferred parts of this head to the outside. Crankshaft. It is a mechanism whose main function is to regulate the opening and closing the valves, both opening and closing. Valves. They are another of the important mechanisms of a car engineer that are responsible for letting the gas flow into the cylinder. Pistons. The pistons are inside the cylinder and are responsible for transmitting the engine energy of the combustion gas. The connecting rods piston have different parts. Head. It is the upper part that is contact with the fluid throughout the process. Sky. The upper surface of the head. Bolt. This is the anchor between the piston and the connecting rod. Skirts. They are the ones that allow the piston to slide inside the cylinder. Cylinders. These are the parts through which the piston circulates. Crankshaft. It is the price that supports the force and pressure caused by the valves and carries out combustion. The crankshaft pushes the piston that transmits power to the crankshaft through the connecting rods, converting the reciprocally moments into circular force.
Good afternoon. My name is Luis Enrique Mendoza. I'm going to talking about the type of internal combustion. Um, First, have the gasoline engine. The internal combustion engine are of two main type. The first is the spark ignition engine, commonly known as gasoline because it runs of gasoline of regular gasoline. Is in this type of engine, the vaporization full maximum white are included by an electrical spark. The expansion of the gases causing the bite of air of combustion drive a piston on a rotor. Commonly, the full caused by spark ignition engine is gasoline, but sometimes also likes gas under pursuit. The next page is have a Ford strong gasoline engine. Is a combustion has following one intake, two compression, three expression, for X house in taken with the intake belt or open the piston moving that in the crash valve uh, such in the full high phone the compressor right of balloon closing the piston moving in the composite direction and compressible and the combustion mixture expression owns the combustion mixture in compression, the explosion in combustion, which has rise to the expansion strong, which produce if used forwards the force exhaust with the exhaust well open there in one last stroke of the piston which drive the burning gases out first and the cycle start. Uh, the second type is the compressor ignition engine. Diesel, which also use their front of combustion process to drive a piston, but the spark is melting install the evaporation for the injection and comes into contact with and harness to the temperature enough of the burn itself. Compression ignites engine use have only gas scale of gasoline. Thank you.
Hello everyone. I will talk about the application of internal combustion engines. Combustion engines have countless applications. Gas ones are applied in mainly in industry and in power plants, although they are gradually disappearing, replaced by oil ones. Only in large metallurgical manufactories are motors of the kind used, consuming gases from the blast furnaces. Diesel and semi-diesel engines are used mainly in agriculture for lifting water, in power plants and in navy. And gasoline engines are used in various ways for industry, agriculture, automobiles, marine, and aviation. Car engines are the fastest. Aviation engines are provided in many cases with reducer for the proper, especially.
Hello, everybody. My name is Darwin Diaz. In this afternoon, we are going to talking about how the engine can be assembled. And please, I will appreciate that you put a real attention to understand all the things that we are going to talk in these 2 minutes. And if you have any question, I will answer you the questions at the end of the presentation. Okay. I don't know if you can put really attention on the slides, but you don't have a lot of information there. Why? Well, because my objective is that you understand how the engine can be assembled, and for this way, or for this reason, I just will explain you how the engine can be assembled step by step. Okay, here we go. To perform the engine assembly, exist different kind of manuals like, well, why paste that information there? Well, how we know all the things that we buy have the manuals with instructions to arm, to install, or to perform a troubleshooting or a test like to verify if the instrument is working, no? Okay, for that reason, in the engine assembly, have a manual too, but the manuals are different kind of manuals. Then you must need to understand for what reason there is kind of manuals. Why? Well, there is a BMM. What is the BMM? The BMM is Vehicle Maintenance Manual. What is the Vehicle Maintenance Manual? Well, the Vehicle Maintenance Manual is a manual where we can find a lot of information to perform a maintenance, to install. For example, there is a manual to install from uh, um, a nut to install all the engine. Why? Because the manual will give the instruction step by step how you can perform that. Because there is something that you say like, well, I will put this first because it's more easy for me or more easier for me put now, and after I will continue with another part. That's wrong. Why? Because if the manual gives the instruction step by step how you must need to perform the maintenance to install a rings, a pistons, anywhere. Well, all the part of the engine, okay? If the manuals give the instructions, you must need to follow that step by step. Because in the process, then you will assemble the engine, have a timeline to perform the maintenance, to perform the assembly. Why? Because if I put first the pistons and next I will want to put the rings, I will can't put that. Why? Because the pistons we can take out and put the rings around the piston, and against that put the piston inside the engine. Okay, for that reason we must need to follow the information in the manual step by step, because the manual will give us the instruction that must need to follow step by step to understand how the engine can be assembled. We are not here to questions why, because if you have interest to understand why, you must need to follow the next manual. What is the next manual? MBMM. Why? The MBMM is the Master Vehicle Maintenance Manual. What is the Master Vehicle Maintenance Manual? Well, the Master Vehicle Maintenance Manual involves all the information and explain step by step the reason for the steps that you must need to perform. First one, okay, the vehicle maintenance manual just will give you some part of the information that is required to assemble the engine. Okay, I don't know if you understand that, but if you have any questions, you can answer. I will answer you after at the end of the presentation. Okay, well, for the EPC, what is EPC or IPC in Spanish? Okay, well, the EPC is like a manual to find the part. I don't know if you can understand, but how you can say in the down part of the slide, say part number and serial number. Well, in the IPC manual, the EPC manual involves all the information of the parts that we are going to require to perform the assembled engine. Okay, Niles, I'm sorry, Niles, no, we are going to not working for good, okay, I'm sorry. No, for rings, for pistons, for another piece like sensors, wiring, okay, starter, all the things that involve the engine. Okay, well, that's explain. Um, For example, how can I explain that for you understand me better? Well, an example, the EPC manual have a catalog of the parts of the piece then you will need to arm the engine, okay? But each piece have a part number, serial number. And with that part number and serial number, we are going to phone the piece. But the problem is that we must need to understand the vehicle have a BIN number. What is a BIN number? Do you know what is BIN number? The BIN number is a vehicle identification number. That the BIN number of the vehicle have a proper manual to find the piece or the part that you will use to arm this kind of vehicle, okay? Because exists um, radiator. Okay, you know what is a radiator? I think so. All the thing here seen one radiator before. Okay, well the radiator is like a important piece in the engine. Okay, to cool the water inside the engine and keep cooling. Okay, keep cooling the engine. Okay, that you must need to understand that. Okay, why the Ford Ranger 1995 cannot be used the radiator for that vehicle to in a Lancer. Why not? Because that is not the size, because that is not the correct piece of part to arm my Lancer. For that reason, each part in each vehicle have a serial number and part number, but to looking for that information we must need to phone first in our car the BIN number. With the BIN number I can put in the manual BIN number of the car, for example, 1 2 Foxtrot Tango 324. Okay, okay, the catalog develop all the information about this car, and with that information I just put the part number and the serial number to find the piece that I will need. Okay, well, and I will use. Well, with this information, we are going to found the piece or the part specific for our car, and that is really important when you are going to assemble the engine because the EPC manual specify the piece and the part or the instrument or the tooling that you are going to need to use to perform a good maintenance. Okay, for that reason that is really important because in the IPS manual specify the tool, it specify the piece, it specify the part, and in the BMM manual, that is a vehicle maintenance manual, that is the number one, is used to do or to apply the exactly step by step to assemble the engine. For example, I will looking for the radiator in the EPC manual and the nuts and bolts. Well, I have the bolts, nuts, shunts, and everything that I will need to arm the radiator. Okay, but to arm that, the VMM will explain me what is the torque that I will need to apply to the bolts and the nuts, and if I can apply the torque to the nut or to the bolt ahead, because to the bolt head, because that is really important to understand. And what is the way then we are going to use to put the nail, the bolt, if from front to rear or from rear to front. That is an information really important to ensemble the engine. Okay, well, next, information. And to perform part requisition or to identify part exist some acronyms like, well, the acronyms is the thing that I was explaining you before. For example, part number, serial number. I explained you that, okay? This part number and serial number maybe can be a number in relation with the inventory in the catalog, okay? But it's used just to found the part and the piece, okay? But you must need to understand what is the difference between part number and the serial number. The part number is used to identify, for example, this is the radiator. The part number of the radiator is 123. Okay, okay, part number. But part number can be replied or reproduced or fabricated 1,000 of this kind of radiator, okay? And I will identify that 1,000 of radiator with the part number. But each of the 1,000 radiators have a serial number. This is the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 to reach the 1,000 radiators, okay? That is the serial number because the serial number will give me the information that is just exists one, just one. Okay, and for example, if I'm looking for inventory, the radiator number 3, the part number 123. I'm sorry, the part number is 123. I was looking for, okay, and in the catalog will appear, okay, the serial number 3. Was sold. Okay, was sold to Juan Perez. For that reason, that have a serial number and part number. Okay, I don't know if you can understand me, but I can explain you to at the end. Okay, and well, the acronyms then we can most need to understand that is the CMM. Okay, what is the CMM? Components Maintenance Manual. What is the Components Maintenance Manual? The Components Maintenance Manual is like a glue. Okay, covers. It's more for components to perform the maintenance. For example, if you put tapadera culata, I'm talking to you in Spanish, the specific name or the proper names, because I don't know if you will not understand me, but for put that kind of seal, okay, at the engine, you must need to use glue, but that is not a glue, it's like a lubricant seal that you must need to put. For example, I don't know if you will understand me, but I will explain you if this is the seal. Before you put that on the engine, you must need to put the seal component on the face, on the down at the down face, or at the see, yeah, at the down face, to put that in the engine, okay, and that will seal correctly, okay, because that is specified in the manual. In the PMM will say how can be installed the seal, but will refer to the CMM to explain you what kind of a lubricant or sealing then you will use to apply to the seal. Okay, you must understand that. Okay, the FIN number. What is the FIN number? Phone is for engine identification number. What is the for engine identification number? Well, the for engine identification number is like how can I explain you that? To looking for a troubleshooting is for troubleshooting. For example, the sensor alpha, yeah, the sensor have a thing number uh, 321. 321. Okay, the sensor have a thing number 321. Okay, I will go into the manual to looking for a BMM manual to looking for the film number 321. That will explain me what is the part installed to do not disarm of the car to find that part, that sensor. That will explain me. Okay, that sensor is rear of the engine between the firewall and the engine. Downstream or upstream, like compressor body. Okay, that is just to not disarm of the vehicles or the engine, just to find a sensor. Okay, that will explain you where is it. Okay, well, that is enough for me. But I don't know if you can understand all the thing. Why I explain you that and not step by step how ensemble the engine? Why? Because, well, I am thinking then you will perform a best job if you understand how the mechanic perform the engine assembly. That is better. Okay, thank you. Have a good night.
Conclusion. The main elements of an internal combustion engine were determined as well as its operation. With this we learn the main parts that make up the engine, which are the combustion chamber, the cylinder head, the crankshaft, and motors. Once again, these parts of research belong to the area of mechanical engineering to do the design and maintenance of motors. By knowing the elements of the engine and its operation, we will be able to facilitate the assembly procedure and what an optimal result will be now making it work. Defining flow helps us to better understand each of the parts. As a personal experience, we believe the great emphasis should be placed on this area at the university, and we invited the rest of the public to learn a little more about the mechanical engineer degree since it's very interesting. An occasion to learn about the operation of an engine. So here the reference. Okay, simulator. As a last point, the simulation of an internal combustion engine is presented, where it's possible to separate its components as well its operation. And this. Okay, thank you for attention.